The battle for the U.S. Olympic Big Air team heats up ahead of China's second World Cup in just 2 weeks. Can you believe it? Hard to believe that it's been 2 weeks and all of a sudden we're doing another World Cup. But I mean, it makes sense. I mean, how many times do you want to travel all the way across the continent and compete like that? Access Media TV on Instagram, Access Media Snowboarding. Thanks for tuning in. Brad J with you. Subscribe, like, turn on notifications, share, all that yabba, yabba, yabba. Because I'm going to be covering all competitive snowboarding all the way through the Olympic Games on tour. I'll be in Steamboat. I'll be at Copper Mountain. We'll be at Aspen. I'll be at X Games. And I'll be, of course, at the Olympics in Italy. And I'll bring it all to you. All right. So the battle for the Olympic Big Air team continues. And it's a tight one. It's tighter than a Beyonce dinner dress. I'll tell you that right now. Because if you look the way things have gone, there's a lot going on. So here's what you could look at. You could go ahead and look at that. Secret Garden, the top one, that's done. Brooklyn to Priest did quite well. Judd Hankus did well. They're our top finishing Americans. Now they move on to Beijing Big Air. So they've been in China. They're used to it. They've had plenty of Chinese food, and they're ready to throw down. And what does it mean? What does it mean when you look at it right now? Let's just go ahead and pull this up. Here's the stats so far after the first World Cup. And Su Yiming, of course, because he took the win, has the lead. And Chun Yuji from China, another Chinese athlete showing up and blowing up. Ryomo Kamada in the number 3 spot. Eli Bouchard from Canada. Good to see Canada strong again. And that's also him. And you got Cam Spalding as well. Darcy Sharp. I mean, a very strong Canadian team. And Mark McMorris. Don't forget Sparky, that's for sure. And then the two Americans. Brooklyn to Priest, which is a surprise by a lot, but he ends up in 5th place. And Judd Hankies ends up in the number 6 spot. So those two Americans right now are large and in charge, and they're driving the bus. They're literally driving the bus right now. And you look at Brooklyn, a lot of people didn't think that Brooklyn to Priest, after that first one, would get a top 5 finish, but he's done just that. He's done a top 5 finish, and that puts him in the driver's seat because there's only one competitor has locked up a spot to compete in the Olympics, and that's going to be Red Gerard. So Red Gerard has done his job. So Red Gerard's in. The Olympic team for the U.S. takes 4 guys, 4 girls to compete in slopestyle and big air. Same on the halfpipe scene. 4 guys, 4 girls. So there's only been, between halfpipe and slopestyle, 2 Americans so far that have qualified and punched tickets to Italy coming up in February. And that's Chloe Kim on the halfpipe side and Red Gerard on the slopestyle side. All right. But with Brooklyn doing quite well, and then you have to look at Judd Hankus has been stepping up. I mean, Judd Hankus, don't count him out. The silent assassin is trying to find his way in the mix right now. And with Judd Hankus to where he is sitting right now in the number 6 spot after one event, all it takes is some consistency. You've been in China for a while now. He goes out and has a good day in World Cup number 2, and that could mix things up. And there's guys trying to make the team. You look, okay, Judd Hankus, right? Brooklyn to Priest, the top two guys right now, closer to Red, because Red's already earned a spot. Those guys are in 5th and 6th. But how about Ollie Martin? How about Jake Cantor? How about Chris Corning? How about Finn Bullock-Womble? How about Sean Fitzsimons? How about Dusty Henriksen? How about Luke Winkleman? How about Brock Crouch? Think about those names right there. And when I was talking about the hardest team to make is the U.S. men's slopestyle team, somebody was trying to tell me, no, it's not. That's absolutely bullcrap. It is the hardest one to make. You heard the names I mentioned, right? You heard the names. How are you going to pick 4 guys from like 10? So Red Gerard pretty much he's already locked up his spot. So Ollie Martin looks like another guy who's pretty much locked up his spot. And then after that, you only got room for 2. And it's not official for Ollie, but he's pretty darn close. A good showing in this next stop for Ollie could mean good stuff for him, for sure, as far as making the team. So as a big air race Titans, man, the U.S. team preparing for this stop. And you got red in, and that's it. All right, let's talk women top 3 right now on that. What's going on the women's side of things? Women's big air. Trouble as far as the Americans go because not showing up. And when you get a full-on sweep from the Japanese riders, that means business. And look, this is not something that's brand new. This is not something that's brand new where all of a sudden where the Japanese riders come. How come they're shredding and everything? Because they've been working on it as hard. They've been working on it even harder over the last 10 years. Maybe it's 7 years. I don't know. But about 7 to 10 years ago, you started noticing more and more the Japanese athletes inching their way up the podium. And that's the way it goes. Are the Americans, are the women going to be able to compete with that? We don't have a solid pick yet for the 4. Who are the 4 going to be to represent the U.S.? And that's why this event coming up means a lot, especially for Team USA. The women are the ones that want to make a case for themselves. Who's going to be the top 4 competing in women's slopestyle and snowboarding, right? I mean, you just have to think about it because here's the schedule right here. That's a big schedule, okay? Secret Garden, finished, done. Let you do something in Beijing, big stuff there. And then you look, coming back at it, you got Steamboat, which another event. Well, I'll be out there for that one. And then you got to look all the way to Aspen, and that is going to wrap it up. In Aspen, on the 10th of January, the U.S. team will be named in Aspen. And who is going to represent the men in slopestyle for snowboarding? Who's going to represent the women in slopestyle for snowboarding? Well, those answers all have to be done. And so if you look at it right now and you look at the way things are going, and if you look at the men's side, as far as the women's side is up in the air right now on who's going to be the top 4. But the men's side, too, kind of up in the air. Red Gerard in, all right? A lot of pressure is off Red Gerard. That is for sure. But that puts the pressure and shifts it on guys that are trying to make it in. Like your Judd Hankish, your Ollie Martin, your Brooklyn DePriest, your Jake Canner, your Chris Corning, your Finn Bullock-Womble, your Sean Fitzsimons, your Dusty Hendrickson, your Luke Winkleman, your Brock Crouches. Do you see what I'm saying? The list is thick, and you only have 4 spots. And right now, the ones that want to pounce, I got to think Judd Hankish right now. If you're Judd or if you're Brooklyn DePriest, this is a big opportunity to put up some numbers in the next one and see if that puts you in to represent the USA in the Olympic Games. That's going to do it, man. Access Media Snowboard on YouTube. You know the deal. Subscribe, like, share, and let your friends know where they can check it in. That's going to do it for me. I'm Brad J., and I'll see you on the hill.